So this is a recording being made on December 20th, 2015. I'm going to claim copyright on it. I'm going to post it on YouTube. It's sort of a different format. I'm going to call it a haboo and haboo and a wujo. I'll explain both words here really quickly. A wujo is I come from a martial arts background, and I first started with judo. It's a Japanese word. The Ju part of it means soft, and the Do part of it means way. So it's the soft way, if you will. The do really means a path, but we won't go into the differentiation there. The wujo is like a dojo. Now, a dojo is also a Japanese word, and it means path or way, and the place where you practice the way, or your path to enlightenment. And so, a dojo refers to any kind of a place where any form of discipline is practiced towards the idea of obtaining something larger than your normal state of consciousness, I guess you might say. And so that's what a dojo is. And so this is sort of a wujo, jo meaning place. And wu in this case is derived from the idea of woo-woo. Now, woo-woo is my designation for the alternative media because 98% of it is either inaccurate and wrong or total bullshit. And so as a result of that, you need to practice a lot of awareness and mental perception and presence when watching the alternative media to pick out stuff that is factual and valuable to you. And not that a lot of it is attempting to be fraudulent or anything, but a lot of these people are simply wrong in their understanding of reality, just the way that things are. So that's what our wujos are. Now, haboo is Haboo. It's a Salish word. Salish is the word Salish is sort of an aggregate term for the total indigenous tribes that were in the Pacific Northwest, ranging in what was known as the Salish Sea, which is Puget Sound up through the Inland Passage to southern Alaska, more or less. So it's the Tlingit and those people in the north, all the way down to the Squaxin and Squamish peoples in the south. And they're all lumped under the term Salish, and that just is sort of the designation for all the variants in language there. But haboo is a word that's used throughout the region, and it's used when you gather around the campfires and in the long winter months, in the tunnel as we call it, when the world's gray around here and water's pouring down and it's cold outside. And haboo is used as a word of encouragement for the storyteller. So I've sort of bastardized it because I'm going to do something different here, and I'm going to tell a little story, and then I'm going to have a little wujo discussion. The story is to be considered 100% fiction. We'll fictionalize it, and I'll personalize it as we go along, so make it a little bit more entertaining. It's not to be understood as being true. It doesn't come from any of my data. There's a point for me doing it. I owe this discussion to a number of people, and they'll understand who those people are. And it's just a nice little story. And so we're going to do a haboo here in the sense, then that's how I'm bastardizing the term, to label it as sort of an internet story. I'm just going to sit here and it's like a campfire tale. I'll just tell you this little story and then do a little bit of wujo and won't occupy too much of your day, hopefully. And perhaps you'll find this story to be entertaining as well as enlightening in some regard. The wujo is entirely about the the feedback and the bitching I've been getting about my discussion and thoughts on channeling. So here's the story. Here's our little tale. It's a very interesting tale. If you write about it, if you use it as a jumping off point for movie scripts and that kind of thing, be very careful. It's copyrighted. There's reasons I'm presenting it this way, just to try and keep myself out of as much trouble as I can. It's entirely fiction, can't be true. Disclaimer, 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 all of that kind of crap right here. If you believe this, you're a real true nutter, and I can't be held responsible for any actions that that you may take as a result of your weird ass belief system that you would believe this truly strange tale. So with that, let's begin. And let's say that we'll start with something in reality. It's always nice to pick up and have a jumping off point. So we're going to jump and we're going to do a riff in the musical sort of sense or entertainment sense off of Max Kaiser and Stacy. Now Stacy is in my perception, is the guide or she's like the she rides herd on Max Kaiser et al. The elephant, right? So she's the mahout. She's up there with that little stick poking the elephant behind the ear, gently saying, "No, no, go over there, go over there." And stop here, take your bath, that kind of thing. So Stacy's the mahout of this organization, and she chooses linguistics that are really interesting from my perspective, being a linguist. And so here we find that in this week, and I'll put a link to this particular episode of the Kaiser Report, they're discussing immortality, which is an interesting idea and thought and so on. And within that discussion of immortality, they're also bringing out language that's very interesting, because they start off with a little bit of a discussion about whether or not uh, uh, Vladimir Putin is immortal. And they do so because it's a conspiracy theory kind of an idea that's running around, a meme that's running around the internet, in which they find, because we now have a large enough history with photographic media, that people are finding extreme likenesses and faces for people who are currently alive and people that have been alive in the past. And so there's this little image running around that purports to show Putin now and back in the 1940s and then back in the 1920s, I believe, something along those lines. And so this is really interesting. And so we'll jump off of there. You need not watch all of the Kaiser Report. If you just want to watch the first few minutes of it, that'll be fine. I need to pause here for a second and then re-pick up.